Hello and welcome to the Wholeness Principle. Snoopy is not dead. He just can't even. Tomorrow's the 4th of July, and this is how I feel. Even though I should be really excited because look at what we have coming up. The astrological event of not just the century, the eon. This is absolutely absurd. The beauty of this configuration. There was an astrologer back in the day, I don't know when he was around, but he saw this configuration coming up. So this is his basket. And then we've got the moon in Libra, providing another sextile. These are all sextiles between outer planets, which are very large and slow moving, which is why this is such an astonishing configuration. For them all to be at around 4 degrees for about 4 days is like the perfection. July 19th through the 23rd. And even in that time, the moon will have moved over to Sagittarius, creating another sextile over here. But already by that point, Jupiter will be at 5 degrees. So Jupiter moves a little faster than the rest of these planets, but it's still a large planet, and it stays in a sign for about a year. I don't want to make this video long. I just want to commemorate the moment and to say, relax. There's too much hype for nothing. Not for nothing, but I mean, it almost, okay, I've been really catching up with the Never-Ending Story. I even got the book. And in the Never-Ending Story is the concept of the nothing. We celebrate the nothing. We get hyped about what ultimately ends up being the nothing. When the something, the substance of life, the quintessence, is right here, right now, 100% of the time that we are alive, instantly accessible. But we create falseness to instigate some kind of excitement or something. I don't know. And that's basically that would be hell, okay? Hype over the nothing. And then heaven would be the same thing, but healthy. Because heaven is still imagination. It's still hype over something that is not here yet. It's still excitement. It's still passion. But it doesn't come from this place of emptiness that leads to addiction, manipulation, power over one another. So, on either side of it, heaven and hell are fiction. But one is not well and spreads unwellness. And one is wellness and is thriving and is passion. And only when we live from this passion, this excitement, can we actually come to peace. Peace requires something to be excited about. Or we will sink into the nothing again. Thus, the redemption of all of our lower chakras, of sexuality, of power in the human being, the power of love. It's a very simple dichotomy. It's a very simple choice. Do you live in the palm of the nothing, scrambling for any power you can get when you don't have any? You especially don't have any in the grand scheme of things. Okay, give yourself some numbers. Remind yourself, anytime you start to feel powerless, because yes, you are powerless. Okay, remind yourself there are 8 billion people on the planet. Think of the cosmic scale, how big the universe is, and I don't know, just fill your brain with all the statistics that help you to realize that all of your problems and all of your insecurities, every nagging thing in your head amounts to nothing. There's no reason for you to blow up your personal dramas. There's no reason for you to take anything personally. There's no reason for you to feel bad. That doesn't mean you won't. Stuff will hurt. But a right perspective will help ease any pain. Correct perspective is a panacea. So get some perspective. You actually are nothing, and you're insignificant, and you're powerless. That, number-wise, can liberate you from the petty concerns of the individual human ego. On the flip side, your power is enormous. Look what one person can do for the entire human race, the entire 8 billion people on this planet, even though they're not fully good. No spiritual leader, Michael Jackson, Prince, Selena, Oliver Tree. Oh my God. Oliver Tree, man. That is a life lived out of master-child imagination energy. Capricorn represents the master-child energy. Cancer represents the inner child energy. These are actually terms in astrology called the MC and the IC. And they're Latin terms, but I have changed them like I'm changing a lot of stuff. Because you have to live out of imagination. You have to create the future that you want to see. And people can be on board or not be on board with it. It doesn't matter because, again, you are insignificant. You are small. But you have the potential to, be a boat that rises, something that rises, a ship that rises all the tides. I suck. I cannot remember that phrase. But when you get lifted up, you lift others up. Period. And it doesn't have to be an idea that other people take with them. It can just be a feeling. So all this that I am just messing with over here, it's just perspective play. Because that's our power. And that's all we have. Every different religion that wants to be the only one is just a perspective play. And they're all beautiful in their own way. And like each person that I mentioned who accomplished great things and inspired so many people, each one of those ideas is just going to come and go. But what we have now is mass communications, full awareness, access to levels of consciousness we've never accessed before. And we also have the ability to archive, to collectively remember things, to store evidence that we were here. So long as some power-mongering tiny little person doesn't come along and burn down the Library of Alexandria again. Speaking of which, the number 451 came up a lot recently. I don't remember why. Does it have to do with the basket? I don't know. Fahrenheit 451. And I sometimes have casually joked about book burning because there is a book, ironically, called The Alphabet versus the Goddess. And it kind of makes the case for how reading, literacy, has hypnotized human beings into this masculine worldview that we call the patriarchy, and has been against women and against intuition, against all of these magical tools, which only appear magical to the linear mind, because, I mean, what the argument is that literacy traps your consciousness into the linear. And you have to raise your consciousness into the next dimension, which I will call the feminine. Sadhguru said the feminine is another dimension. And I tend to think of the third dimension as masculine, the fourth dimension as feminine, and then the fifth dimension is the divine union between them. The feminine is what you have to follow to escape the matrix that is the linear mind, the one that literacy trains your brain in, that keeps you hypercritical, and whatever else it does. I don't want to go there. I don't want to try to relate to it right now because I'm in dimension 5. I can't even with just the third or even just the fourth. Okay, am I keeping this short? We're at 13 minutes. That's good. Okay. Happy 4th of July. May the experiment of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness